All right, folks, what's up? How are you doing? So good to be back again. Busy is not the word for what I have been. A little machine head to get things going right there. That'll be one of the bands I'll be talking about as far as concert updates go. Oh, man. That's sick right there. I like it. Get off on that for a little bit. Yes, indeed. I love it. Welcome back to Metalhead Michael, another episode. Yet, once again, this will be a quick one, folks. It's Saturday. Happy Saturday to everyone. The weather's too nice to be stuck inside. So I'm going to go through some things really quick and have a quick Metalhead Michael episode right here, right now. Anyways, like I said, it's good to be back. Hope you all are doing well. Concert updates real quick here. Let's get right to it. I have seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bands on 2 shows over the last time since we met. And let's get to Disturbed. Disturbed was a whole lot more organized than Whitechapel, let me tell you. Bigger venue, as you can imagine, at the Lenovo Center here in Raleigh. Parking, my God almighty. The last time I went to a show, I think, was Metallica or Avenged Sevenfold. One of those two, not necessarily in a row. I can't remember which one was first. Parking was $30, which was outrageous at the Lenovo Center. This time it was $40. So they have upped the parking price. Just FYI, for those of you who refuse to pay it, there are plenty of parking spots available around town in the Lenovo Center, and you can make it work. They actually have a greenway. A lot of people don't realize they have a greenway that goes underneath one of the main thoroughways that surrounds the Lenovo Center. So that's how a lot of people get away with paying that $40. Is they park in some of the residential areas that surround the Lenovo Center and just walk under the greenway, and boom, there you are. I go ahead and pay the $40 out of convenience of being next to a pole that I can easily identify so I don't get lost, etc. You know the routine. And anybody who's been to a concert with me knows that I am prone to getting lost after the show. In any given parking lot. So that's what I usually do. And I usually take a picture of my parking space and a picture of the sign that says, West 57, spot number 5, Michael, this is you, all that good stuff. And I still somehow end up getting lost. But anyway, parking was $40 to begin with, right? So that put me in a bad mood. But I thought to myself, this is Disturbed. No worries. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to have a good time. It's one of my favorite all-time bands. This is one of my tattoos that I wear permanently, obviously, because it's a tattoo. And I'm just going to have a good time. I'm determined to have a good time. So I get in line, and I was immediately surprised about how few people were in line to see this show. Okay, I was literally walked right up to the door. I had to wait maybe 30 to 40 minutes before they opened the door. I went straight to the merch line. They had 4 merch lines circling the entrances to the Lenovo Center, which was awesome and incredible. Now the lines, as the time went by, the crowds progressed and grew, and by the time I got to the merch line, it was lengthy. Okay, it was lengthy. I can tell you this, though. It wasn't as lengthy as the Whitechapel disastrous merch line that I talked about before at the Ritz. But it was lengthy. But the thing that impressed me the most was it moved incredibly fast. I had almost 50 minutes to kind of meander around after I went through the merch booth and blew all of my paycheck. Right, which is actually a truthful statement. Then I spent the next 40 minutes, and for those of you who were there, I was that guy walking around aimlessly in a circle looking for the Disturbed hidden signature drum head, which I later found out subsequently after the show a few days later that they did not have one of those for the Raleigh show. Thank you very much for letting me know that. But yeah, that was me walking around in circles with a beer in my hand, looking up, looking down, looking around corners, behind booths and so forth. Some of the security people were thinking I was like a little wacko, but I was looking for that drum head, man. Wow. Sorry I couldn't find it. But let's get to the show. Nothing More. Daughtry, I almost forgot the order, and then Disturbed, of course. So they had 3 bands playing. Daughtry I was really excited about. I'll get to that in a minute. Nothing More I have seen before, and I knew they were going to put on a good show, and they did not disappoint. They had just incredible. They had this percussion thing that they do that is really when they're not opening, when they're playing at like festivals or they're headlining, they do a little bit more lengthy of a drum show, like a drum solo, like a duel off almost. For this particular show, they were time limited. They had about a 30-minute set, and they had to do it at the end of the set, and it was quick. But every time that these guys perform, it is tight. It's slamming. It's sick. It's really a good show. They did not disappoint. And David Draymond from Disturbed came out and sang a little bit with them, which was a really cool surprise. You know, to have the headliner lead singer come out and do that for the opening band. I thought that was totally cool. And I caught that on video. I put that on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out, where David Draymond sang with Nothing More. Moving right along to Daughtry. Daughtry, I was really excited about because Daughtry's got, you know, I'm a Metalhead fan. I don't listen to a lot of Daughtry. I have a lot of stuff out of his catalog on my shuffle that I play at work, for instance. Right, I wouldn't play Slayer or Godsmack or Machine Head at work, but I do have some Daughtry on there. And Daughtry's got some pretty jamming hits, and he puts on a good live show. Now, I can tell you, having said that, I was really disappointed with his set. Excuse me, I had to take a sip of beer. So yeah, his set to me was light. It was he didn't do any of his like really hard hits, hard rocking hits. Maybe there was a few of them in there. He did Home, which everybody likes as a slow down kind of he did an acoustic version of that, which was really cool. He got the whole crowd going with that one. But I would like to have seen a little more heaviness into his act, to be quite honest. And my overall assessment was that he should have been the opening band. Nothing More should have been in the middle, and Disturbed, of course, should have headlined. But having said that, I'm not in control of those things. But I wish I was. If the vote would have been up to me, then Daughtry would have opened up. Okay. So next was, of course, Disturbed, and the anticipation by this time, the crowds were packing the seats in. They had a little pit section, so it was really cool, and they did not disappoint. This was the 25th anniversary, for those of you who don't know, of the Sickness album that came out in 2000, right? So they played that album first and foremost in its entirety, which means, of course, that Down With The Sickness wasn't their closing song. It came right in the middle of the set, which I think was a really cool idea. And then they, of course, I think that's the end of side one. And then, of course, they played the album in its entirety from start to finish. They seemed to me a little rushed, right? But Disturbed is always tight, very stringent. They put on such a good show. They're just really a good live band. They got a lot of different little things going on their show, so that didn't bother me too much. And after that took them up to about almost exactly 9:40 p.m. Right, I would say they came on maybe 8:15, 20 after. They played till 9:40, doing their 25th anniversary album from start to finish, and then they took a 20-minute break, came back on and did about 40 more minutes of just hit after hit after hit after hit, which was a good pick of songs. They did Stricken, they did Indestructible, they did Hello Darkness, My Old Friend, Sound of Silence, I'm sorry. I forgot what the name of the song was. And just a whole bunch of other great, almost like a greatest hits list from Disturbed. I mean, you can't break it down to 40 to 50 minutes, but as far as their catalog goes. But they did a really good job doing that. David Draymond's voice seemed a little stressed. If you look at some concert footage of that, which I have plenty of, again, on my YouTube channel, of all 3 bands that played, I got some good video footage that I threw up there. But all in all, I was stoked. It's one of the hottest metal tickets of the year. and I was excited to go to see them once again. Wherever these guys go, they sell out. Usually, it's usually jam-packed, 80-90%, and they never disappoint. And this time was no exception, for sure. They do have a little section of the show where they invite a family member who has gone through some tight times, some really bad times, and just the Disturbed music has helped them through their tough times, and they get to share their story and spend time with the band while they perform The Light, which is a kind of a tradition or a staple of Disturbed shows. And it is always a great, great experience. And I can attest to Disturbed music, really having an influence on someone in that regard. So that was a really kick-ass show. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I went for sure. It was worth taking a night off. It was worth blowing some dough, laying some money down on the merch table, and I was glad I did it. I actually, after the show, I went back to the merch table and was like, let's see how much money I have, my checking account, the extra money to spend here, one more shirt, and then I decided to go home because, I was I needed to eat for the rest of the week, quite frankly. Be perfectly honest with you. All right. So that was the Disturbed show. I'm definitely going to catch them again when they tour again this way. I'm hoping they're going to make some new music for sure. Let's get to Machine Head, In Flames, Lacuna Coil, and Unearth. Folks, this was all on one bill. And I'm here to tell you right now, I paid maybe $50 or $60 for this ticket. Now, you talk about an exceptional lineup on one bill that's cheap. You cannot beat that. Even if those weren't my favorite bands, which they are, I would have gone to that show anyways, just on that principle alone. So Unearth comes out, and I've heard a little bit of Unearth. Not as much as the other bands for sure, but Unearth was just an incredible band. And they had some issues with the, for those of you who went, you know what I'm talking about. They had some issues with power issues. They were so loud. They had their stuff cranked up so far up that every time the first couple of opening songs, they blew out the speakers, blew out the power, which was a little embarrassing for them, but they got everything straight and put on a really good set. Lacuna Coil, which is the reason that I went to begin with. That's really the only reason why I bought the ticket. And when I saw the price, I was like, that's Lacuna Coil, $55. That's in and of itself is worth going to the show. So Lacuna Coil comes out, did not disappoint. For those of you who don't know who Lacuna Coil is, like an Italian goth kind of a metal. They have two lead singers. Christina Scabia, of course, gets the lion's share of that band as the front woman, and the other guy, I forget his name. I think his name is Luca. No, it's Andre. I'm sorry, Luca. I just figured Italian Luca. It's probably right. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have gone that way. Andre, I think, is his name. But anyways, those two sound really, really good together. That's something that is overlooked by Lacuna Coil, because Christina Scabia again gets the lion's share of everything with that band, really. But they're just a good band. They play good music. They write good songs. The dual vocals that they have is amazing. And this guy Andre can hold his own. He's got this guttural type of it flips with him. Christina Scabia really hits the high notes more so, and she can throw down too. But it's just a good combination. I have seen Lacuna Coil too many times to count, but just about every single time has been on festival lineups, right? So this one was a special treat to see them up close and personal at the Ritz, more like 20, 30 feet away, doing their own thing. It was a short set because they were one of the opening bands, but that in and of itself, like I said, was worth the money for the ticket for sure. Now let's talk about In Flames. When these guys came out, In Flames, for those of you who don't know, have been around for a very, very long time. I believe this check this out. I believe they're on their 14th studio album. That's more albums than Kiss, if I'm not mistaken, folks. So they have been on tour, in and out of the studio. They have been doing this for a very, very long time, and it really shows. They are a tight, stringent metal band. They got this guy with the goatee is the guy I'm talking about. I forget his name. They're Swedish, by the way. Swedish metal band. When this guy goes into solos, it's like you are on another plane of existence. That's just how good he is and how amazing his solos are. And the band put on an incredible act. By the time In Flames came out, the stupid drunk people started coming out, and I had some stupid drunk guy behind me who was making a bunch of noise. Didn't like the fact that I was holding my phone up every so often, but I didn't let that bother me because of the show. It was really, really good. In Flames. Now let me talk about Machine Head. Machine Head has also been around a while, and these guys, when I look back in some of the history, these guys usually tour with In Flames. So that's usually a duo that hook up with each other that tour. I have seen In Flames and Machine Head play similar sets in like festival aspects, festival shows and so forth. Kind of back in the day, they were doing like Carolina Rebellion, Ozfest. It was not uncommon to see Machine Head and In Flames on like the main stage opening type of an aspect, or if they were on the side stage out in the gravel pit, they would usually be together. So these guys have toured together. This is nothing new, but Machine Head, my gosh, let me tell you something about this band. It is the loudest that I have heard a band play in a very, very long time. These guys had their amplifiers turned up to 11, like that movie. What's that movie called? Big Bottoms, My Girl's Got 'Em. Spinal Tap. Yeah, these people had their amplifiers turned up to 11 for sure. It was the loudest I've heard a band in a very long time. The loudest show I've ever been to, just FYI, is Slayer on the Diabolus tour back in '98 in Charlotte. My ears rang for like a week. It was at Ovens Auditorium. If y'all have never been to Ovens Auditorium, back in the day, it was just like a basketball court, and they rattled my brain completely. I couldn't hear anything for a week. That's the loudest I've ever been. But this one came pretty close. Let me tell you, my ears were ringing for a good 48, 72 hours after Machine Head got through. And people went crazy for Machine Head. I mean, they really got the circle pits going, the crowd surfing going. Wow. Great show. Excuse me. So that was the Machine Head, In Flames, Lacuna Coil, and Unearthed show at the Ritz. The merch booth went a little faster. I think they got things organized just a little bit better. I got there a little earlier, right? They got this thing. Let me tell you about this thing they got. Sorry, another sip of beer. They got this thing called the Fast Lane. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, for those of you who go to the Ritz, do not try and upgrade to the Fast Lane. If you want to upgrade to VIP where you sit upstairs, because that is a private overlooking area where you really get some good views and not a lot of crowds are upstairs. You get to sit down. They have comfortable seating. They have tables for upgrades and so forth. But as far as the Fast Lane, do not fall for that. The fact they literally line you up next to the people who are regularly going in. And what they do is they just let you in seconds before they let everybody else in. So you don't really get a head start. The VIP people have already gone in, and they've already got into the merch line. So you get to go in and get behind the VIP people who have already taken up space in the merch line. And then seconds later, they let everybody else in. They just open up the gates and let everybody else in. And they make money off of that. So I think that's a complete and total ripoff, folks. And I hate to see concert goers who are blue collar and below wage earners statistically to begin with, not all of them, but statistically, and kids, high school kids and so forth. I hate to see them get ripped off like that. So don't fall for stuff like that, folks. The Fast Lane is not worth it. You're going to get just as much bang for your buck and just as much far behind in the merch line and getting inside if you were in the regular ticket line. That's something about the Ritz you should know. Those are my concert updates, folks. I look forward to the next one, which is Ice Nine Kills. That is coming up Wednesday. I told you April was going to be an insane, crazy concert month. Last one of the month is Wednesday, April 30th. Ice Nine Kills. They are putting on a 2-night concept type tour. I'm only going to the first night. Can't afford to go to the second one, quite frankly, because I got more concerts in May, and again, I need to eat. So, and my dog's looking at me like, "Hey, don't forget about me. I need to eat too." So those are my concert updates. One more for April, and then in May, the first week of May, I believe. Yeah, the first week of May 6th, if I'm not mistaken, at Lenovo. Again, $40 for parking one more time. There's the price of a shirt right down the tubes there just to park. But it's Linkin Park. Linkin Park is one of the hot tickets, just like Disturbed. That was a hot ticket I got. Linkin Park is one of the hottest tickets, one of the hottest shows out right now. Really competing with some of the pop shit that's out there that usually makes the most money. This Linkin Park show is really competing with those other categories and aspects of music and giving them a real good run for the money. It's a good show with their new lead singer, Emily Armstrong. I can't wait to sing along to all the classic Linkin Park songs. I just cannot wait. And to hear it backed by Emily Armstrong, the new lead singer, I'm stoked. Really looking forward to it. I have an aisle seat on the floor at Lenovo, so I don't have to put up with the crap at the Red Hat of all places. My gosh, that's going to be May 6th. And then May 18th, if I'm not mistaken, I am unfortunately returning back to Red Hat to see Bullet for My Valentine and Trivium. And really the only reason I'm going to that show is because Bullet for My Valentine. I might leave early. No, I'm just kidding. I'll stay until the end of Trivium. It's two good bands. Trivium is just so tight. Just a tight band, man. I'll probably stay until the end. But Bullet for My Valentine is really the only reason I'm going to that show. That's one of my all-time favorite bands. So that is the complete roundup of concert updates. Let's talk about Slayer. Release the Slayer fans. Slayer is going to play again. I think they already have done at least one date. Now, who didn't see this coming? Really, these guys swore playing again altogether. They swore on the Slayer Bible that they were done with. They were through. They toured the whole planet like twice and 3 times over. The thing about Slayer too that people don't realize, they never changed their set. They played the same set everywhere they go for years and years and years. It's the same exact set. That's something I always wish they would change up, but they never did. But anywho, they are getting back together and I think they're in the process of doing like one-offs. Okay, like a one-off festival appearance here, a one-off festival appearance there. But the point is they are back together. And I can't understand Gary Holt and Kerry King doing this. They had plenty of other stuff. Both of them had plenty of other stuff they could do with Exodus and the Kerry King Band, respectively. So, and I just got through seeing Kerry King Band play last year, and everybody seemed happy. You know, the lead singer for Death Angel. I don't know, but maybe that'll give Death Angel an excuse to go back to the studio and put some new music out. I don't know what the guys from Kerry King Band are going to do. I guess they'll hook up with the rest of the guys from Exodus. I don't know. Maybe do a tour in that regard. But apparently Slayer are getting back together again, doing the old Motley Crue thing once again, supposedly. Right now, there's a lot of the details in limbo, but they're scheduled for some one-off appearances, which will probably lead to them touring again. I'm not going to complain about a new Slayer album. I love it when they go back to the studio and put some new stuff out, but they haven't in a while. And if they are going to tour, God knows, I hope they change up their whatchamacallit, their lineup for once. Gee whiz, talk about Talk about, you could basically memorize the lineup that they did on their world farewell tour. But anywho, I'm not complaining. It's Slayer, man. You can't complain about Slayer too much. I mean, they really kick ass. They're one of the reasons why I do what I do and heavy metal's around. Getting to Godsmack. Let me talk to you about Godsmack. Godsmack is on a European tour and has been for a while now. And I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago, my old concert partner sent me this message. It popped up on my phone, and it was one of these announcements, right? It was an announcement form, and it said that the guitarist and the drummer Shannon Larkin and Rombola, I think his name is, probably mispronounced that, had left the band. So instantly, I thought to myself, bullshit. This is fake. Godsmack is one of those bands that gets targeted with a lot of fake stuff. They just something about Godsmack that people just love to target with them. The fake. You find it all over the place. Excuse me. Anyhow, probably shouldn't have done that on a Metalhead Michael show. But anyways, so I called bullshit on it right away. Instantly went to their website. Nothing on their website. So I wrote it off. I said to myself, this is not true. It would at least be on the website. We would have heard something from Soli Erna by now. Maybe 3 to 5 days go by, and that's when things started surfacing about the fact that it's actually true. The Shannon Larkin has left the band. Tommy Rombola has left the band as well. They left together at the same time. He had heard nothing from the guitarist. Shannon Larkin has made a statement on YouTube or social media platforms stating that it was amicable, that it was mutual, that it was friendly. Now, my concert partner did point something out. So let me just tell you, I was shocked. I still am in shock over this. For metalheads, this is serious business when a band like Godsmack breaks up. This is equivalent to when Jason Newsted left Metallica. That was a pretty serious deal. And a lot of times bands break up, and people are like, well, they broke up. Who couldn't see that coming? They haven't done much in a long time. They haven't been in the studio. They haven't released. They haven't toured. Knew something was up. They were on the shelf. Not surprising. This is not the case with Godsmack. Godsmack has been active. They did the Vibes tour all of last year, then rolled right into a really heavier regimen, heavier schedule on multiple tours. They were just being Godsmack and making music and going out there and touring, right? There was some rumor when they did the Vibes tour that they were trying to wind down. But that came from Soli Erna because they were 25 years in and working on 26, 27 years, right, in the mainstream. 25 years of making studio albums. Longer than that, touring, and longer than that, really being a part of Godsmack. But anyways, when I finally could verify and fact check the fact that the lead singer, the Larkin and Rombola had left, I was shocked, and like I said, I still am. This is like a Wall Street Panic type of stuff for metalheads and in the metalhead world. It really is. It's a big deal for a band like Godsmack. Not just one band member leaving, but 2 band members of one of the biggest metal bands that are out there right now left in the middle of a European tour. Always something else to that story. I can guarantee you there's something else to that story. Now, my old concert partner pointed out something that was worthy of observing and worthy of noting, is that Shannon Larkin looks horrible. He usually is skinny, but he looks skinnier than he usually does. And there have been long-standing rumors about his health, quite frankly, because he used to drink like a fish. He used to have a serious issue with alcohol, and he quit a while back, but he doesn't look good. When he did the video that said, hey, I have left the just to let you know, it was amicable and it was mutual and it was friendly. We're all still good friends and everything. You could tell that he has lost even more weight than he usually has, and so there's an online kind of a rumbling or an underground concern in that regard that something more something may be wrong with him as far as health goes, and there may be more to the picture than just two guys getting tired of touring. Okay. Flips to the other aspect of that story is the fact that we have heard nothing whatsoever from Sully Erna, which to me is just as suspicious as anything. Now, I can see where there's an aspect of him wanting to finish off the European tour and finish off the European tour with the sit-ins that he has. I forget off the top of my brain, if it was any other time than doing a Metalhead show, I would remember, Metalhead Michael show, who it was that's sitting in for him right now. But these guys are doing a really great job, these substitutes that he's got. But having pulled two people in to finish off the European tour, you would have figured that something would have been announced or released from Sully Erna, an official statement of some kind, something on the website, the Godsmack website, and we got nothing from him. We got nothing at all from Sully, and I don't understand that at all. That's very concerning to me. So I hope to hear something, an official kind of a release of some sort, because to me that's not like Sully. Sully would have addressed it. He certainly addresses everything else that happens with the band. And in any aspect, just touring, he addresses like fake stuff that Godsmack gets targeted with. But he has remained silent on this. Two of the mainstream band members that have left the band, and to me that's concerning, folks. I just don't. I can't see. Well, I won't go as far as saying I can't see Godsmack performing anymore after this European tour, but there's going to be a pause of some sort. I can tell you that. Godsmack's going to get shelved for a while until some decisions are made. Who's going to fill in if they're going to continue? And, I can tell you Sully is going to take his time picking if that's going to happen. I would say my prediction now is he might just hang it up, which I hate to see, but I could completely understand. I'd hate to see because Godsmack is such an incredible band. But that was shocking to me to learn that was a fact. That was an actual fact, that two of the members there have left. Wow, I'm still in shock just thinking about it, just talking about it. Such a great, great band. That's one of the bands that continues to make good music, continues to get better with their music, continues to put on great, great shows, has developed a show that has like these staples and traditions in them, like the dual off drum solo. Nobody's had ever done anything like that until they came along, right? And it's also one of the bands that I have followed since its inception, since its very beginning. I saw Godsmack in 1998 at a bar in Fayetteville, North Carolina. They were the opening act for Seven Dust. That's how long I've followed them. I still have that ticket stub, by the way. It was still a good show. Sully Erna actually jumped out into the crowd and crowd surfed and then kind of hung out with the rest of us while Seven Dust played. Really, really cool. That was back in the day, as I like to say. And I was at that show. I really was. And like I said, I still have that ticket stub. So that's pretty cool. I hate to hear that about Godsmack. I wish the best for him. I know that Sully still has plenty of music left in him. And I hope that he continues to make good music with under the Godsmack brand, if you will. I hope he can find some good replacements, some good worthy replacements, and continue. Now I'm sad. Okay. Anyways, the Fry Festival. Now this is something I have talked about a couple times on Metalhead Michael shows, and it's not necessarily metal, but I have been warning people about the Fry Festival, the fact that they're trying to do this secondary Fry Festival over again. This idiot, I forget what his name is. McFarland, I think is what his name is. This con artist, fraudulent fraud guy, trying to pull off another Fry Festival, and it is slowly falling apart. It's like sand, like holding some sand. It's slowly just falling through the palms of his hands, right? Slipping away. Everything is not working out for this guy. He has had to find relocations for his so-called scheduled Fry Festival 2 or three times over. The alleged hosting country or town in the given country has declared that they know nothing about what McFarland's up to. So he's had to answer for that. And recently I wrote here in my notes that they wound it down to like personal experiences with celebrities, just a bunch of bullshit, paying overbloated prices for just bullshit. No bands have actually signed on for it. And so they were like going to do like DJ experiences. And the latest update is the DJs are now backing out. They're realizing this is ridiculous. I'm not going to waste my when you have a DJ. Think about this, folks. When you have a DJ, right, backing out of a show, somebody who is blood, sweat, and tears trying to make a name for themselves and will take anything really to get out there and perform. When even they are backing out, you got an issue with a festival that you're trying to put together. Not to mention, that it's Fry, and your first one was a flop that sent you to jail for fraud, right? So, my gosh, Fry Festival continues on the downfall. It continues to fall apart. My last little mention of him on my agenda is Michael Graves. He continues to have a fallout as well, just because his just ultra right to the right wing beliefs that he continuously incorporates into his music, not into his music necessarily, but into his announcements and his views that he puts out there. That this guy, from the beginning, this guy had a really decent following. He was trying to make a decent comeback. My old partner, a concert partner, went to see him a few times on some of these B-level facilities, and they were really good shows. He was really focused on his music, but then he got into this right wing. What is the whatever boys? I can't even remember. I can't even remember now. But this is somebody who has failed to shut his mouth and just play music, and he's got to put his beliefs out there and try and combine it with his touring, and he keeps getting canceled because of it. What a dumbass. I'm sorry, but what a dumbass. And all of the people who were following him back in, let's say 2018, 2019, right before COVID hit, where he was really trying to make a name really making some progress and making a name for himself and putting out good music, they're all leaving him behind as well. So he's got nothing now. And just because he won't keep his mouth shut, just play music. So, my recommendation is, hey, I hear the Fry Festival is looking for performers. So maybe those two, a fraudulent McFarland can hook up with a right to the right wing Michael Graves. And maybe they can have a failure in and of themselves. See how many people show up for that show, right? Oh, my goodness. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Thank you so much. Happy Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. I will be back with a little longer episode next time. This one was a short one. Like I said, happy Saturday. Good vibes this weekend, folks. I'll see you guys in the mosh pits. And as always, keep your horns raised all the fucking time. Peace out.